Hello. Today I'm going to be starting my conversation about plastic. To start this conversation, I want to ask the audience members a couple of questions. My first question, you could give it a nice thought and we'll come back to it later. The question is, in this audience, who likes to eat seafood, whether it be fish, shrimp, or sushi? And like I said, this will be coming back later, so give it a nice thought. My second question is, in your everyday life, how many times do you use disposable, single-use plastic, whether that be a straw, plastic utensils, maybe a napkin, maybe a plastic plate, anything like that. And my last question is, in your everyday life, how many of your items are covered in plastic, or maybe processed in plastic? I want to start this discussion by saying that without you realizing it, we are ingesting and eating plastic. Now you may ask, I know for a fact that I don't eat plastic, but what we don't realize is that whenever we dispose of our plastic, we don't properly dispose of it. Only 10% of our plastic has been recycled in the years that we've discovered it, which has been since the 60s. What this turns into is microplastics, and this gets into our waterways and to our food. Now, how may it end up in our food? Well, since we don't properly dispose of plastic right, it ends up in our oceans. And as I said earlier, it turns into microplastics. And sadly, this becomes part of our food chain. Meaning that small organisms mistake these microplastic as algae or any phytoplankton, and these smaller animals eat them. And as the process of the food cycle goes, a bigger organism will eat that, and so on until it reaches humans. And if you answered yes to eating seafood, you have plastic in your system. According to the Washington Post, plastic can be dangerous. It can lead to organ problems and developmental delays in children. And in another article written by an author named Alice, burning our plastics, which is a process that is very dangerous and causes air pollutions, which in turn we breathe in, can be linked to the development of asthma or cancer. When this plastic gets broken down, we of course eat it. And these chemicals can cause inflammation and oxidative stress. And this in turn can lead to negative health problems in humans that most of the time can cause death if serious. These include cancer, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, inflammation, autoimmune disease, and neurological degenerative diseases. It is important that we are aware of our consumption of plastic because we don't realize it, but plastic is a part of our everyday lives. Whenever we go to the food, we put our food into plastic bags. Whenever we buy meat, our meat is covered and sealed in plastic. Whenever we buy items such as cosmetics items or any other items, plastic is involved in this process. So much plastic is made that it doesn't get properly disposed of. Only 10% of it gets disposed. From the year of the 1960s to 2015, about 318 million metric tons of plastic has been produced in our environment. And sadly, it is not getting disposed of properly, which in turn affects our environment and our health as individuals. We need to ask ourselves, what can we do to cut down and help our planet and our health? What we can do, and may seem weird, but we could start habits of it, is we could use reusable water bottles, grocery bags, metal straws, which has been a very popular trend, and utensils. For example, we could cut down on plastic toothbrushes and use biodegradable bamboo toothbrushes, which in turn are a better alternative to plastic toothbrushes. We could also support businesses that package items with less plastic or 0 to none plastic. An example of a company like this is Lush Cosmetics. We could also do research and find any companies that allow products to be bought in bulk, and there are also companies that let consumers and customers bring in containers such as glass bottles to buy bulk items. Like I said, plastic is a big problem in our world, and so much of it is being produced and only it is being used for single use. meaning the wrapper that we used in the straw, the grocery bag that we used in the grocery store, the plastic tag, the plastic stickers, our plastic forks, our plastic straws, can take